Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. It's your host, Bando, and let me tell you something. We got Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman for this weekend. It's a major welterweight matchup. Obviously, Kamaru Usman, former champion, we haven't seen him grasp a win in over 1,000 days. I mean, I think it's close to pushing 1,200 days since the last time we seen Kamaru Usman get a win. And obviously, Joaquin Buckley is on an absolute tear in the welterweight division. So we got to talk about it. We got to break it down. So let's get right into it. Let's smoke. All right, so scrolling through this fight card, seems like we got a pretty decent card for Saturday, if I'm being honest with you. We got a decent prelim card and definitely a good main card. You got the prelims opening, Jamie Lynn Horth versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Shout out to the Cleveland girl. You already know, rocking with the Cleveland girl, Vanessa Demopoulos. So hopefully she can get the W. You got Phil Rowe going up against Angel Lusa. You got Ricky Simone going up against Cameron Smotherman. I feel like that's low-key disrespectful to Ricky Simone to throw him on the prelims after a phenomenal KO finish the last time he got that win when he came in as a huge underdog. So to see him on the prelims, kind of scant. And then you got Cody Durden going up against Jose Ochoa. You got Malcolm Wellmaker going up against Chris Moutinho. Chris Moutinho is not happy he's coming into this fight as an underdog. Already once cut from the UFC. A lot of people know Chris Moutinho literally for being the guy who went in there on short notice against Sean O'Malley and literally just got pieced up. He's known for getting his ass beat in a way. And I know that's kind of messed up to say, but it's true. He is known for getting his ass beat. He's known for standing in front of Sean O'Malley for 3 rounds, getting absolute pinged up, just pieced up, taking the shots, but getting pinged up and pieced up, losing a few fights, and then getting cut from the UFC, building himself back up to come back to the UFC, and he's pissed he's an underdog. Well, you're going up against an undefeated prospect, so it makes sense. Last time you went up against an undefeated guy, you got smoked. And the thing with Malcolm Wellmaker, too, is he's coming off of a first-round KO off somebody nobody expected him to get a first-round KO against Cameron Simon, and he did. You know, this dude has gone from being a typical 9-to-5 employee, doing his, I forgot, I think he was some sort of welder or something like that, and after his last fight, even went to the job again, and then got his bonus. He ended up quitting, focusing full-time on fighting. So it's a cool little story. I'm definitely rocking with the kid. You know, he's got a guy who should be somebody just stand in front of him, allow him to do his work. So I would say that Wellmaker's going to get this win. You never know. But I think Chris Moutinho is just going to stand right in front of him, and you're going to see Malcolm Wellmaker get another great finish on Saturday night. Michael Chiesa back with the return, going up against Court McGee. That's a great fight for Michael Chiesa because obviously Michael Chiesa has had some difficult matchups in the past. Had some easy ones, but had some difficult matchups in the past. You definitely want to get him something to grasp him a win. Court McGee is a challenging enough opponent, so it's a good fight for Michael Chiesa. I would have to rock with Michael Chiesa in that. More likely than not by submission, but if Court McGee keeps this fight standing, you know, maybe he can make it interesting. Then you got Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato. Somebody's getting submitted in that fight. Just as simple as that. Moving on to the main card. You got Alonzo Minefield versus Omar Sy opening the card. Omar Sy, obviously 11-0 prospect. Alonzo Minefield, we've seen him in there. We've seen him take the dubs before. We've seen him get smoked before. So Alonzo Minefield, not to say he's wishy-washy, but it's up and down with him. You never know if he's going to come in and be an absolute savage or come in and look really good to start and then get clipped with one shot that changes the entire aspect of the fight. He's one of those guys that once he does get clipped, right? If he gets clipped by something that's definitely damaging shot, you know it. You know what I'm saying? Even if he doesn't wobble, he shows you how he acts, how he reacts when it comes to getting clipped. So I think I would have to go with Umar Sy, stick with the undefeated prospect in this one. Then you got Mansour Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. Both men coming off of a KO in their last performance. You're only as good as your last performance, and both men looked really good. One of them being a second round KO, the other one being a round 1 KO. Both early finishes. What's going to happen in this fight? Now, the thing is, with Cody Brundage, he went out there and got a KO finish in the last fight. Nobody expected him to do that. We know the wrestling is sharp when it comes to Cody Brundage. You know, he can handle defensive wrestling and offensive wrestling. He's pretty skilled when it comes to that. He's not an incredibly dominant wrestler or anything like that. Hasn't, top tier ground gamer. It's just good. You know what I mean? It's good enough to grasp wins against guys who don't have that great of a ground game. But depending on what route this fight goes, it all depends on the outcome. I think if Cody Brundage could utilize the wrestling, try to make it a little bit more of a fast-paced wrestling match before they start to scrap, he could probably get the W. But I would say it's tough if you're not 100% on point with the wrestling, because you're going up against a guy who's 2-0 in the UFC, 2 back-to-back KOs. It's a tough one. You want to be careful in this fight, because I feel like, yes, if you bring a high pace to that wrestling, it should benefit you, because you can keep the guy who's a powerful striker on his back foot. But if he presses you first and he meets you in the middle and he forces you on your back foot, I could tell by the first step that Cody Brundage is going to take in that octagon who is going to win that fight. And honestly, I'm going to have to rock with Mansour Abdul Malik. So now we on to the return of Cody Garbrandt. Now, this is actually leg 1. All right, so listen, everybody, lock these in. All right, I don't often tell people lock bets in, right? I can say, hey, make this bet if you want. Go ahead, try to lock that in. But no, I'm telling you, take this bet. Cody Garbrandt versus Raoni Barcelos. I got Cody Garbrandt by KO. Now listen, Raoni Barcelos can stand in there and he can scrap, right? He's willing to go in there against the scrap. He's willing to go in there against guys that he's known to be lesser than, and put on a good enough performance, put on an interesting performance, put on a tough performance, right? Raoni Barcelos is not somebody to sleep on. But this is by far the most perfect fight to get Cody Garbrandt a KO win, knockout win, boost a little bit of confidence back in this man. I don't see him ever being a champion again at 135 or being a champion at 125, wherever he bounces back and forth to. I don't see him being a champion, but I do see Cody Garbrandt being able to have some longevity in a division, in the game, if he continues to get wins. He cannot risk himself taking a clip to the chin and end up losing that way again. So he's got to go out there and get the finish. He has to get finish after finish after finish right now for him to continue to boost himself and also bring that confidence level. Because when the toughest thing about confidence when it comes to losing a fight, right? Losing a fight is one thing. You lost. Is what it is. You can come back, you can train, you can find your holes that were in that one, and you can close them up, you can fix different things, you can patch up the game and come back and get a W. When you get knocked out cold, right, and I'm not talking about just getting clipped, wobbled, finished. No, I'm talking about knocked out cold the way that Cody Garbrandt did. It definitely digs deep, right? It breaks you down and digs deep, because now your thought process in the head is almost like, damn, I can't get touched. Right? Before I can get touched, we can get in a trade. I wouldn't be scared if we would trade, because I know if I land my right hand, he's going to the ground first. Now, I land my right hand, they land their right hand, and I'm going to the ground. All of a sudden, it's a sweet sequence of me wobbling, trying to save myself. And Cody is the guy that goes out on his shield anytime he gets wobbled, but he cannot get hurt, rocked, wobbled in this fight. He's got to go out there, looking like a former champion, looking like an absolute world beater, going out there, throwing them hard shots, looking for the finish. And I do truly believe that Cody Garbrandt gets a finish on Saturday. I'd say when a guy knows the magnitude of the position he's in, of having to get a win, I think he can get it done. I'm rocking with Cody. I'm hoping that Cody can get it done, but that is the first leg of my parlay, is Cody Garbrandt by KO. All right, so we move on to Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Petroski. We're looking at a striker versus wrestler matchup again here. Man, I feel like Edmund Shabazian is always getting thrown to guys who have more of a ground game, more of a wrestling-based style. But Edmund Shabazian is a good striker, right? Very good at managing his distance. I honestly thought at one point Edmund Shabazian was going to be a problem. I thought he was going to be like the future of the middleweight division. Still young, but not young no more. At the time, I really thought he had potential to be the future of the division. Long, lanky striker. Got some power in his punches too. Was able to do enough on the ground, right? And then it just seemed like he had a bit of a downfall. But Edmund Shabazian is still talented. I think he is the type of guy to go out there against a guy like Andre Petroski, who is a strong wrestler. And he should be able to go out there, piece him up from the outside. Do everything that like strikers want to do against wrestlers. I feel like Edmund Shabazian can do in this matchup against a guy like Andre Petroski. Now, you don't need to defend, or you don't need to work really like wrestling takedown defense a ton for a style of Andre Petroski. You just need that style to stand back up. Legit, you just need that style to stand back up. If you can stand back up on this guy and he's going to shoot again, he does not have that cardio level to continue to shoot for 3 rounds straight, and that's the only thing he does while having to defend the long distance and striking of Edmund Shabazian. So I do see Edmund Shabazian getting this win, but you already know how it is. Once the wrestler gets the striker down one time and the striker loses the confidence of staying on the feet, the wrestler will take over. So it's not something to sleep on Andre Petroski. If you're making a bet, you can go either one of them by decision. You can maybe do Petroski by a submission if you want some crazy odds. Edmund Shabazian by KO if you want some probably decent odds. But I do see this fight going to decision regardless of which way. So if you want to lock this in, it's not on my parlay right now. But if you want to try to lock that in over 2.5, you should be golden. Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. We're looking at former champion Thug Rose, who has not looked like Thug Rose in a long while. Probably since she knocked out Weili. It's been a minute. It really has been a minute where you're sitting back and you really wanted to put Rose Namajunas in the conversation of one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. And she still is up there, right? It's not like she lost that just because her wins aren't the same. It's not like because she's not getting finishes. You know, it doesn't really matter. But the way that she was after KO and Weili, it was like this look of, oh my gosh, nobody's going to beat Rose. And she has looked a little bumpy in her last few. So yeah, Rose has won in her last 4. The one was against Tracy Cortez. So she stopped one person's comeuppance with Tracy Cortez. Can she do that in this fight against Miranda Maverick? I'm not sure. This card is actually an interesting card because you do see a lot of moments where you see some prospects coming up, and then you do see the changing of the guard. This is one of those fights that is the changing of the guard. There was a point where Kamaru Usman was at the number 1 pound for pound, and at that same time, Rose Namajunas was on that list somewhere. And if she wasn't on that list, she was still a champion at the moment. But I'm almost 100% positive she was somewhere on that list. So 2 pound for pound, former pound for pound champions are fighting this weekend, right? And in my opinion, are both underdogs going into the fight. Because of the way that the passing of the guard, the changing of the guard has been happening, the up-and-comers, the new people coming into the division, the new people trying to get ranked, they're taking over, right? They've been in the game long enough, right, where they've seen all these people have their successes at the top of the division. And they watched that while they were building themselves at the bottom of the division. And each time you build, whether you win, lose, or draw, you're learning. And these people, these young cats that are coming up, they're not scared to lose, right? Because in MMA, it's not like boxing. You could take an L in MMA and build back within 2 fights. You take an L in boxing and they write you off. They write your whole career off. You know what I mean? It's completely different. So in the overall grand scheme of things, in this fight, I want to rock with Rose. I want to say that Rose can make the proper adjustments. I want to say that Rose can be able to beat her. But I feel like when Miranda Maverick puts the pressure on, puts the clinch up against the cage, tries to just start utilizing her strength, start utilizing more of dominant positions than Rose being able to defend off those positions and land strikes from the outside, I don't think she's going to be able to do that. I don't think Rose is going to be able to find her shots, pick her shots, or better yet, she's landing her shots. She's not landing at enough power to avoid Miranda Maverick putting pressure on her. I would love to see Rose get this win. But like I said, I think it's time it's the passing of the guard. And also, I don't like the fact that Rose doesn't have Trevor Whitman in the corner no more. It's just Pat Barry. And I don't think Pat Barry is giving her the proper advice when she is in the corner when adjustments are needed to be made. I feel like he's just over there the same way that Coach Kavanaugh was with Conor McGregor, telling you you're doing great, and not giving you the idea of the adjustments that you have to make. And that's what loses these fighters fights. I talk about coaches, I talk about cornermen all the time. You look into boxing, you look at Teddy Atlas. That's how you coach somebody. That's how you corner somebody. You stay with the intensity consistently, right? Consistently. And it's not no like you saw Leon Edwards as coach with that intensity in that fight against Usman when he knocked Usman out, right? He got under Leon's skin in that last round. And then you watch these next few fights and he does it again and it just seems like it's not the same. Almost like he saw that he went viral from doing it. So he started doing it some more and it wasn't clicking, right? You watch Teddy Atlas, it was all natural. It was natural, in the moment, intensity, wanting to wake his fighters up. When I always go back to the We Are Firemen one with Timothy Bradley. When you're watching that, you literally just see the way that Timothy Bradley's looking at this man, listening as if he is some massive being that he's listening to. Right, he's locked in. Some guys don't even listen to their coaches when they go back to the corner. They'll just be like this, like not even paying attention, literally avoiding looking at their coach. Like they don't want to listen to their coach, give them the proper advice to make the changes. Now, it's not that Rose is a bad listener or anything like that. I just think his coaching style is a much better coaching style in the gym and as the side piece in the corner, allowing somebody like Trevor Whitman, who even if he stays calm, which 90% of the time Trevor Whitman is calm, he's telling his fighters the adjustments they need to make. He's at least trying to fix the fighters. Now, Trevor Whitman went from being coach of the year to having some ups and downs. A lot of his fighters have had ups and downs. Like I said, you had at one point Usman, Gaethje, Namajunas, top of the game. All three of them battling to stay at the top of the division. That's how quick this game changes. So, Rose having just Pat Barry in the corner, I think poses a lot of issues for her. But if you get the classic Thug Rose, she's very capable of getting a finish, very capable of defending off things and being able to maybe even get wins off her back, maybe even put pressure on and have her own wrestling. Rose has a great game. She's able to mix it all up if she is locked in. But I'm going to have to go with Miranda Maverick in this fight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, lock this one in. This final one. This is the second leg of my parlay, the main event. Joaquin Buckley going up against Kamaru Usman, and I got Buckley by KO. I am sorry, Usman fans. Look, Usman's a dog, okay? There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Usman is a dog. Did he have the most crazy title run like everybody kind of describes it as? No, it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was a good one. Enough to put him up top in the pound-for-pound list. But when you look back at it now, it wasn't crazy special. It's better than what we've been getting, right? It's definitely better than Leon's. Definitely better than Bilal's. Probably better than Woodley's. Right? Obviously not better than GSP's. But probably not better than Matt Hughes' either. But you look at the run that Kamaru Usman had, and at one point you were looking at him as, ooh, there's not going to be anybody to take him out in this division. The reason I went with Leon at the time was because I knew the striking of Leon could be something that played a factor. I did not think that Leon was going to get a fifth round KO in the last 50 seconds of the fight. I would have never predicted that. So yeah, at one point Usman looked like a monster. But now, not that he's not a monster. The man has had a lot of knee problems, right? He's getting up there in age. He's had a lot of time off. Coming off of a loss against a very tough opponent who I don't, even if you would have ended up giving that fight to Kamaru against Khamzat, if that went in Kamaru's favor, the style of the fight, the pressure of the fight, the things that he had to defend, the fact that he had to defend as much as he's ever had to defend in his career when it comes to takedowns, and just the pressure that he had to come back with to end up trying to even coming close to winning the fight, that takes a lot out of you, especially a guy like Usman who took that fight on short notice. It takes a lot out of you. And I think a fight like this one Saturday night is going to be the same thing. I think Joaquin Buckley is a force to be reckoned with in this division. I think he is the dark horse of the division. I think people are starting to wake up and see it, right? I think people are starting to come through to it. But I truly do think that he is the next. He's going to be the next champion. If not the next champion, he's going to be champion. My prediction was by the end of 2026, if not the end of 2025, because I do see him being able to go in against anybody in that division and take them out, right? He is the style of a wrestler's worst nightmare. Let's be real. A dominant wrestler is always going to struggle against a guy who is short, stocky, athletic as fuck, and very, very tough to take down and hold down. Right, you could take Buckley down. Can you hold him down? Right, he's explosive to get back up. Buckley has become a very impressive heavyweight. Or oh my gosh, heavyweight. Buckley has become an extremely impressive welterweight. Right, in the last few years, he's been a killer. Way better than his middleweight run. Right, you see the size discrepancy when it comes to him at middleweight. Right, watch Nasruddin Imavov and him. Imavov looks like he's like 10 feet taller than him in that fight. Right, so It really does play a difference, and I think Buckley is in the perfect position being at welterweight. The reason I'm rocking with him for knockout is because the way he fought against Colby, defending the takedowns and putting the pressure on Colby, not even allowing Colby to get his feet planted, to get comfortable in any which way, I feel him being able to do the same thing to Usman. And I also feel like Buckley is the type of guy who has no respect. And I'm not talking about in terms of man-to-man. I'm talking about in the octagon. I always talk about that. I always talk about respect in the octagon. You have to respect the guy. And if you respect the guy's striking, his skill set, whatever, it might backfire on you. Sometimes too much respect is a problem. Yes, you want to give off the right amount of respect. And you can do that throughout the fight in different ways. But you got to be smart. You got to go out there and fight your fight. Because if you give him too much respect, you're going to get slept. And Buckley is not the type of guy to go out there and give you respect in your skill set until you earn the respect. So if Buckley goes out there with the belief in his head that he is the biggest nightmare to the style of Kamaru Usman, Usman could shoot, go for the takedowns all he wants. If he cannot get Buckley down, that's going to build the confidence of Buckley to continue to put the pressure on and get a finish. Now, on the other end, if Usman does get him down, that builds the confidence for Usman, and it builds that respect level on Buckley's side to where he has to respect Kamaru Usman, because he knows, okay, he can take me down, he can hold me down. He's got a dangerous route to victory if I don't close that up. But I do think Buckley by KO is the way to go. So my parlay, my lock-ins, Cody, Buckley, KO. Lock it in. Cody Garbrandt by KO. Joaquin Buckley by KO. And if you want to throw the third leg in there, like I was saying, Edmund Shabazian, Andre Petrosky, over 2.5. That one to me is not a lock. I feel the other two you have a better chance with. I just feel like the matchups are made for a finish, right? It's made for a finish. I truly see Cody Garbrandt being able to go out there against Raoni Barcelos and knock him out. I just see Joaquin Buckley having his moment. And unfortunately, his moment has to be against somebody like Kamaru Usman, former champion, former pound-for-pound great. But it doesn't really matter. Usman kind of locked in what he did. Nothing can be taken away from what he has done. He's going up against a tough fight. If he gets this done, that's fantastic. But at the same time, what's it for? I don't see Usman fighting for a belt anytime soon. Not with the way that he takes that much time off in between fights. Way too much time off. So overall, I'm going to have to rock with Buckley against Usman because I just think that's the best bet. But either way, I appreciate you for watching this episode, following me all the way through this. You know what to do if you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando is out. Peace.